From the creators of the Dad of War, we have got the Mum of War. Hey look Ma, we got Mum of Boy before GTA 6. Now I'm going to try to say the name correctly, I'm probably gonna get it wrong, but God of War, Laufey is coming out and we don't know when, there's no release date. Some people are saying 2027. Now imagine buying a Halo game and you end up playing as Master Chief's wife. I mean imagine buying Stellar Blade 2 and you play as Eve's husband. You'd be thinking, what the is this? Now, I'm gonna try and not be a Debbie Downer about this. 100% pun intended if you know who's playing Kratos' wife. But let's look at this from an objective standpoint. I have no idea who asked for a game like this. I just want to make it clear here. I'm not against it because she's a woman. I really don't care about that. I'm against it because I just do not care about playing as another character other than Kratos in a God of War game. Do you remember that terrible Atreus part in Ragnarok? And they made an entire game based on that apparently with this. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, baby. Let's get to 100,000 subs. I want my play button. And I'm planning to stream very soon, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring my bell, baby. Now, what am I talking about? Sony's State of Bore was yesterday. I didn't watch it live. I had better things to do. I was waiting for a Bloodborne 2 announcement at least. Come on, Sony. That's what we're really waiting for. But when that didn't happen, I audibly groaned. But listen, there were a few things that were worth talking about, and one of which was God of War Laufey. And I just want to say, God of War starring, you know, not the God of War, but his woman, his wife Faye. Remember the body you buried in the first game? Yeah. Kratos and Atreus went through the incredible trouble of scattering her ashes in the highest point of all the realms so she could attain peace, and now look at her, she's throwing hands in the afterlife with Egyptian and Mongolian gods. Let's read the synopsis here. Details of God of War Laufey. Faye, after her death, unexpectedly awakens in the mysterious afterlife called the Everywhen. There she discovers that the plans she put into place to protect her family are beginning to fall apart. To save Kratos and Atreus, Faye must travel through this dangerous realm facing powerful gods from different mythologies who are fighting for control. Now that's the synopsis. When I watched this trailer, Sony billed this as 20 minutes of just straight up gameplay. But in reality, it was like 90% unplayable cutscenes. Between Wolverine and God of War, there was literally maybe 5 minutes of total gameplay, and that's just disgusting. That's where we are in the gaming society. Now, to me, God of War is nothing without playing as Kratos. You should be calling it something else other than God of War. Maybe a God of War story, perhaps. Because a God of War game without Kratos is like a Doom game without the Slayer. And by the way, that includes Atreus. His parts in Ragnarok, like I said, were by far the least enjoyable, to the point where they could have removed it and it would have actually made it better and less tedious. Now, some people said you may be able to play as Kratos in God of War Laufey. Well, that remains to be seen. Because some of the memes I saw online about this game was hilarious. The God of Laundry was a classic that I saw on X. Now, to be 100% fair, we have to be very fair on this channel. You know me. Because Kratos' wife is mentioned many times throughout the God of War, Ragnarok, and God of War 2018. Whether you like it or whether I like it, she is the catalyst for the why of both Kratos and Atreus' journey. She is part of the canon story. It's his wife. He says many times she's the only one he really respected. We heard that throughout both the Norse games. Based on the story, it kind of makes sense to make a game about it, but the real question is, why would anybody play it? Now, I said earlier that there's this concept in this game where you're fighting against Egyptian and Mongolian gods, and I'm gonna assume that the Greek gods are gonna be there too. There's all these gods who are trapped in limbo in the afterlife, which is a very interesting, intriguing concept, I can't lie. A realm where dead gods from across the pantheons respawn has some potential. But when I take a step back and think about it, I think this game is more of a way to set up the next actual God of War game by introducing new lore and expanding the in-game cosmology. Now, the idea that we can run into Athena or Zeus or any of the previous characters is kind of cool. But that's where it ends for me. It's not going to make me buy the game day one. If it was Kratos doing this and getting a rematch with the Greek pantheon or fighting against the Egyptian gods, count me in. Now, the Santa Monica developers explain why Faye is the lead in the God of War Laufey. In an interview with IGN, the Ignorant Gamers Network, the developers explained that Faye has always been one of the most important characters in the Norse saga. We've talked about Faye for years, said Corey Barlow. Kratos is like a brick wall, and he's a little stoic, said Lawrence. How do we show someone who's his equal as she is? One way you could show us is by looking looking at the dislikes over at YouTube on the trailer. It has over 100,000 dislikes, which is comical, but it also has 200,000 likes. There's clearly a divide raging online with people from both sides screaming that they hate it or they love it. But I do want to mention there's this person named Elise Morgan. She's the lead writer of this Laufey game. She joined the team during Ragnarok and quickly became the lead writer of this game, which is really weird because she also wrote Gotham Knights, which was terrible, horrible, garbage trash. So yeah, that's definitely not a good sign. According to the developers, they didn't want to replace Kratos, but to expand the God of War universe by focusing on a character whose influence has been felt throughout the series. Oh, that's so cool. See, it wouldn't be another game in 2026 if it didn't have Marvel-level dialogue cringe. Because that's exactly what the mythical God of War franchise needed. Some Marvel-level quips from the comedic relief cube with an American accent called Frank. Yeah, that was really bad. The gelatinous companion cube. It's funny, when I think about the way this thing looks, it's kind of the image of the people who wrote the game. A couple of gelatinous cubes. But the thing is, this character or this cube feels like an insert from a Dungeons and Dragons game. Am I wrong? I remember when we had to spam a button to push our dead daughter's soul away as she hugs you desperately in order to get out of the afterlife and get vengeance. Now we have talking jello shots. You know, I gotta tell you, when I saw this part in the gameplay, it felt like some kind of Disney princess scene or something. It was really odd. It was such a bizarre tone shift when that cube shows up. I mean, it looks like it came straight out of Mario Odyssey. If that was what they were going for, you know what, good job. You know, the thing is, we know that that sword and that cube are going to be talking non-stop throughout the whole game. You know, Sony really looked at Forspoken's dialogue and thought, hell yeah, let's get that annoying dialogue in God of War. That whole scene between them made me think it was actually Forspoken DLC we were getting. Anyway, let's read what some gamers had to say. The God of War creator, this isn't just any gamer, this is the guy who birthed the series. He said that he saw the new Laufey title and said it's not God of War. David Jaffe added, the originals had their hooks, right? It was Kratos is a badass, Greek mythology, violence, etc. When you have the guy who created the whole thing coming out and saying he doesn't like it, yeah, that's a good sign, Sony. Keep going. The game should be called Laufey, a God of War story or something. If the God of War wasn't in it, why are you calling it God of War? The combat looks slick though. That was a comment from another individual and I agree. They should have called it Scooby-Doo and the Jelly Cube, a Concord story. Oh, that would have been so sick. Now here's someone who actually likes it. Kind of fascinated by some of the implications in God of War Laufey, and lots of questions popped into my head, and I'm already way interested that it's not a prequel but an actual continuation. Were all the times that she appeared to Kratos in her visions were her reaching out from the everywhen? Will we experience those moments in game? The everywhen is the afterlife of the gods. There are endless possibilities of who or what we might encounter. That's easily the most interesting part of the game. Will we encounter Ares, Hades, Zeus? I can totally see a section where Faye comes across Ares and a whole talking match ensues. Looks like Kratos found himself another sacrifice, begin epic fight. Look, here's my opinion about God of War Laufey. It doesn't look terrible by any stretch of the means. It's just not what any of the fans actually wanted. I don't care about Faye going up against Ares. I want to see Kratos have a rematch with Ares. That's way more interesting. And on that bombshell, let me know what you think in the comments. Whose side are you on with this game? I'll be very interested to see. Manix out.